Hi guys, Alice Taylor down here at Living Golf Academy, and today we're going to do a little driver comparison, see which one performs the best, and we're going to test the Ping G400 against the Callaway Great Big Bertha Epic. Okay then guys, so we're going to hit 5 balls with each. We're going to start with the Ping G400. I've got the 10.5 head cranked down to 9.5 in the Tour stiff shaft. We're going to hit real balls, TaylorMade TP5s on GC quad, and we're going to see which of these drivers is the longest. We'll look a little bit of accuracy, but that's kind of more down to me. Which one performs the best? Not the low spin options though, like I stressed a bit earlier on. These are just the regular thing. They're going to be aimed more at the mass market, but we're going to go first with G400. So as ever guys, I'm going to pop ball speed up there because that's obviously a key indicator as to, or one of the key indicators as to what's going the furthest. 5 real balls, G400 to start. And I do love how G400 feels. In my review video, you know, I think it feels quite soft off the face. The more I'm using it in different videos, the more I'm kind of getting used to the kind of look and feel of the driver. And again. And it does, I don't know, it'll sound a funny one, but it kind of feels like I know where it's going to go with this driver. There's certain drivers that I've tested this year that just don't maybe feel it quite as well in the golf swing. But I'd say I can kind of feel where the club head is with the Ping, with couple of different shafts I've used as well, but it feels like, barring a poor swing, that I'm going to get the ball in play quite regularly. And the slightly smaller head, it sounds funny, but I kind of feel I strike it a little better with the smaller head. Yeah. Okay, so trying not to look at the numbers on the quad, but these feel like good strikes and feel like I'd probably be getting fairly typical numbers for me, maybe 250 to 260 carry. I feel I'm swinging a little better now than I was a couple of weeks ago. And again, nice solid one. One final one. I've actually not used the Epic for probably a couple of months really, with any review videos and things I've done. So it'll be interesting to see how the Epic performs relative to the G400, because a lot of the hype at the moment is about G400 with it being new. Yeah, so I mean, they all felt good strikes, little bit of dispersion in where the ball was going. But let's switch over onto Epic and kind of see how that performs. And I do like how soft kind of G400 feels. Like I said, it'd be interesting to hit this because I've not hit this one, particularly this model. I've hit Sub-Zero a couple of times lately, but not the standard Epic model. So this again's at 9-degree heads. I've left it at 9, nice and neutral. Just got the hazardous 6.0 in this. So not exactly like for like on shafts. A little bit toey, but really went. And I think it'd be interesting to see that, obviously I'm not going to strike it exactly the same every time, but it'd be interesting to see with, if I hit it out the toe, I'd expect the spin to drop down a little bit. So it's not always, I don't think it's always about hitting it flush out the middle of the club. It's about hitting it out the most effective part of the club face that gives the best flight and performance. And again, felt solid, but maybe just a touch towards the toe. But what we're looking for is, with these drivers, these are the more forgiving versions of the ones that, you know, there's a Sub-Zero in this and there's an LS Tech in the G400. So neither of these should be spinning really, really low. Felt a little bit better strike-wise. And I think because first couple of these felt a little bit out of toe, I will show a little bit of where the strike patterns have been. I've got the dots on the club heads, so you know it's not necessarily going to be exactly the same strike for strike, but it'll be interesting to see how the strikes affected performance from driver to driver. Good. And let's go one final one, and then let's look at some numbers. Just a matter of interest, if you're watching, which you will be if you're listening to me, just stop the video now and just leave a little comment for me as to which one you think will hit it the furthest. And then obviously rejoin and check the numbers out and see who went the furthest. Okay, so I would say, just on feel there, that I probably struck the Ping one slightly better than the Callaway. But let's look at some numbers over the 5 shots, look at some averages and see who came out on top. Okay, so the G400 had a little bit more ball speed, which I might expect if I felt the strikes were better. We'll look at strike in a while. But launched the Epic slightly higher. Spun the Epic less, which again, I'm thinking if I'm slightly towards the toe, that's going to help. But 2.8's a little high, 2.4's more where I'm looking for. Nothing in it peak height, but a big difference, bearing in mind the Ping had more ball speed, the higher spin has actually meant that it's been 9 yards shorter overall. Okay, so if we look at the ball striking with the Ping, you know, very, very central, maybe just a touch on the low side if anything, but very, very out the middle of the club face, which is where most golfers would assume is the best place to hit it. But we saw as a result of hitting it there, even though I'm hitting up nicely, the average spin was nearer 3,000. So we move on to the Callaway Epic, and we can see I got one fairly central, but generally the strike was a little bit towards the toe and maybe a little bit higher. I'm still hitting up nicely, but actually the strike pattern being more high and toe actually gave me a higher launch and lower spin. Right then guys, so I mean for me that was quite interesting with the results. The winner was the Callaway Great Big Bertha Epic driver, 9 yards longer on carry, and also with the lower spin would have run out more. But the interesting thing for me is I actually struck the Ping better. So always that kind of bit of a dilemma for guys that obsessed with hitting it out the middle of the club face. You know, the center of the club face isn't necessarily the sweet spot or the hot spot. You know, it's about where the center of gravity is and how that then influences our launch angle and spin. So we saw that actually a slightly high and slightly toe strike with the Callaway actually performed better for me and gave me more performance. But the idea today was to see a winner out of the Ping G400 and the Callaway Epic. So, and the winner was the Callaway. So guys, as ever, really appreciate you taking the time to watch my videos. You know, I do love the fact that you guys watch. Leave comments below and I'll try and get back to you. Follow me on all my social media on Ali Taylor Golf. Subscribe to my channel if you don't already. Hopefully catch up with some of you guys down here in the future. Stay in contact.